Hi, my name is John Matthews. I'm the Director of Freshwater and Climate Change at Conservation International. And one of the areas that we've been working on is a new model for how we manage freshwater resources, especially freshwater infrastructure in a period of climate change. The way that we used to design dams is shown very well by, say, the Hoover Dam, which was designed and built in the 1930s in the Colorado River Basin in the United States. And the engineers had a limited amount of data, a couple of decades, to show how that river looked. And they thought that it captured the kind of normal high and low periods. It was really important. They did a great job. They built a huge dam, one of the largest dams in history. And it's fueled the growth of such massive cities as Las Vegas and even the Los Angeles area. But unfortunately, as we've known more about the long-term history of this region, we've seen a big conflict emerge. We now have about 1,200 years of climate history, detailed climate history from that region. And there's the precipitation and river levels have been dropping quite dramatically over the past 20, 25 years there. And mostly that seems to be due to climate change. So in effect, you have a dam that is supposed to hold a whole bunch of water, and now it only holds about 30% of its water. It's hurting the growth of cities like Las Vegas. It's hurting the activities of farmers. It's especially hurting the ecosystems that are downstream from that dam, because that dam has changed so much, and now it's out of whack. It's in a deep mismatch with its ambient climate. If you go to the developing world, you see that they're just entering their really high period of dam building and construction. Countries like China, India, countries all across Africa. And that means that they're using the same techniques, unfortunately, that we use to produce dams like the Hoover Dam, and that likely within a few decades they will also have such serious mismatches. And this could actually really hurt the people and really trash the ecosystems that are living in those places. So what is it that we need to do differently? Well, one of the big ideas that CI has been recommending is that we need to make sure that we integrate built infrastructure, things that you pour concrete for, such as irrigation dams, hydropower facilities, big storage dams, even things like water treatment facilities. You need to integrate them with ecosystems, because ecosystems really want to be able to adjust to climate change, to emerging impacts on their own. So we need to give ecosystems the tools to be able to adapt. We need to integrate them with our existing constructed infrastructure. And in effect, what we'll do is we'll have ecosystems and people that are able to grow and adapt to the shifting climate in the future. A good example of this is in China, where the Yangtze River is surrounded by lots of huge lakes and wetlands along the lower 1,500 kilometers or so. And these traditionally have had big levees, big flood barriers that guarded either side, and they protected the communities that were there. What China has been doing as a government, as a country, has been to tear down those levees, to reconnect the wetlands, and to try and clear as much of the sensitive communities and people outside of those areas, to basically restore the function of those wetlands so that they, during floods, which are becoming more frequent in the Yangtze, that these wetlands absorb more water, and during droughts that they can actually release water back into the main stem. And it really is a huge net benefit, because there are more fish. The whole ecosystems are much more abundant and healthy, and the people that are really dependent on those ecosystems for fishing or for irrigation and so on, that they actually have more resources that they're able to draw on. And the whole system is much more flexible and dynamic as a response to climate change. They didn't get rid of all of the infrastructure. They still manage a lot of the water, but it's done in a more sustainable way for a shifting climate. Thank you.